All right, welcome to everyone that has in fact connected. So I apologize for that brief delay there. This was one of those days where, life was lifing in terms of me just getting off to a slow start. So I literally was running upstairs to get ready to get into the chair. But I'm ready to go. And I'm excited that you're here, whether you are watching me live or if in fact you are on the replay. This is going to be a topic that I think. I definitely think you should watch, take notes on, and really give some consideration to because I know personally that it can help you. I'm sure there are others on here that can share the same sentiment in terms of what it has been able to do. All right, so it looks like Denise is on, and she definitely, I'm sure, will have some insights as well as we start going through this topic. But let me go ahead and get into what it is we're going to be covering today. One of the things that is important for you is as you are looking to build a business online, particularly if you're interested in one, creating an audience and building an audience, which I assume that you probably are if you're watching my live streams. And then the second thing is ultimately getting to the point where you can sell digital products, courses, master classes, toolkits, pretty much anything that is considered to be digital. Even if you're going to be doing affiliate marketing, it is really important for you to build your own audience because that way, and when I say build your own audience, I mean you want to get to a point where you have people that are regularly showing up to watch your content, to learn from you, and so forth. And the reason why it's so important that you do that is what that is going to allow you to do is to warm up those individuals, educate them, build and nurture them. And then ultimately, when you have time or have created products, you have a built in audience of people that know you. Now, there are a variety of different ways that you can do that. And initially, when you first get started doing so, you're going to be building you should be building on a platform and it's probably going to be one of the social media platforms. Now what I'm going to be covering today is my platform of choice and why I think it is a great option for those of you that either maybe you haven't had the success that you wanted to on other platforms, or you're just getting started and you're trying to figure out which platform to start building an audience on so that you can ultimately get them to a point of being able to move them to your email list. So if you're on and you want to say hello before we get into the topic, by all means, just drop it into the comments. You can let me know where it is that you're watching from. I would encourage you to also have something to take notes with, whether you do it with pen and paper, if you do a Google Doc, whatever the case is, so that you can refer back to it. But essentially, what we're going to be talking about today is YouTube. And I'm going to be giving you some specific reasons why I believe this is a platform that you should be using if you haven't yet selected a platform, or depending on the content that you have, why it could be useful for you to build an audience. And I'm going to give you some personal, some of my personal stuff. I'm also going to share with you, just things that I've seen happen from my own personal experience on YouTube. Now, ironically, I've had a YouTube account since probably 2010. I did build on it for a while and then I abandoned it for years. But here's the crazy part. Even during the time that it was abandoned, people were still watching my videos, which is just insane to me. And then I decided I would pick it back up in like 2022 and then really started, to do some things with it in 23. Had to put it down, and I'll explain to you why as we get into it. Although there was still content on there. And again, another reason why I really push YouTube. And so now for this year, I'll be able to really run with it. All right, so YouTube, for those of you that haven't yet considered it, let me just kind of tell you what YouTube can allow you to do. And I'm going to be looking down at my notes as we go through things, but I also want to make sure that you understand how this can be beneficial to you. So, as I mentioned, you really should select a platform. Now, one of the things that I want to share with you is there is a book and it's called Ready, Fire, Aim. You can go to my Amazon store and I have a book list in there. With this book, Ready, Fire, Aim, the author talks about the importance of really focusing in order to quickly not quickly but to be able to build your income to $1 million a year and more. And one of the things that he says is important is that you focus in on one product. He talks about one way to communicate with people, so that would be your platform. And so you really, instead of trying to be on multiple platforms all at the same time, you really need to focus in. So whether that means you're going to build your business on LinkedIn or your audience on LinkedIn, whether you're going to build on Instagram or Facebook or Threads or YouTube or TikTok or whatever it happens to be, you should go all in on one platform. Now, here's the caveat. You need to make sure of two things. One, the platform that you select should be where your ideal client or customer is hanging out on. The second thing is that platform needs to be one that you actually enjoy, because there's nothing like saying, well, I know my audience is there, but I don't like that platform, because you're not going to be consistent. You're not going to stick with it. You're not going to create the type of content that's going to attract your audience. So make sure that you take those things into consideration. Now, the other thing that I want to, and I'm looking down at my notes because I want to make sure that I don't want to do that. Now, one of the reasons why, give me one second here. Okay, getting back into my notes, something I don't want to forget to tell you. When you're attempting to build on multiple platforms, your attention gets scattered because each platform has a specific type of content that it likes, a specific type of content that it's going to push through the algorithm. So, having said that, if you focus in on one platform, you're going to be able to get to know what that type of content is. You're going to get a better understanding of the algorithm. You're going to find out what people on that platform really like. Whereas if you are bouncing all over the place, it's very difficult to stay consistent, and it's really very difficult to master a specific platform. All right. Now, the thing that I want to share with you, as I mentioned, with YouTube in my own personal story, is this. As I said, I've had this channel for years, let it die, and then was able to resurrect it. And it was all because of the type of content that I was actually creating. Number one, I was creating evergreen content on it. And then the second thing that I can say was I was creating searchable content. Now, you have to understand, this was back in 2010 when I first started. That's why that content continued to perform and to pull in viewers. It was because people were searching. And you have to understand that YouTube is a search-based platform. So unlike some other platforms out there, for example, if you're going to go with Instagram, and trust me, I'm not telling you have to use YouTube. I'm just telling you the differences between the platforms and why I opted to go with YouTube. If you're on Instagram, you really should be prepared to be posting multiple times per day, whether that's reels or stories or just strategic posts that you're going to put up there. Why is that? Because posts on someplace like Instagram, they don't live very long. Same thing is going to be true of X, formerly known as Twitter. The life of a tweet is like, I don't know, 30 seconds or something like that. So for people to see your content, you're going to have to be posting. You're going to have to be going at it. Well, for me personally, that's a lot of work. And, at this stage in my life, I want to do something that's going to get maximum exposure with much less effort than that, if that makes sense to you. Okay. So the next thing. All right. Hey, Mickey, I see you're on as well. So thank you so much for joining. All right. Yes, absolutely. And so the thing that you have to be aware of about YouTube. So now I'm going to switch over and talk about more about the story, and then I'll kind of come back and share with you some more of my experience. Is YouTube is really a search engine, just like Google. So, for example, if you have searchable content, meaning how do I do this, or how to do this, or something along those lines, think when I say search engine, think about what people, when they're trying to figure something out, what do they type into the search engine to find things? That is searchable content. Evergreen content is going to be something that's relevant today, tomorrow, and 5 years down the road. Let me give you an example. Evergreen content, how to bake a lemon pound cake. Well, you're going to be baking lemon pound cakes today, tomorrow, next year, and the year after. If you are looking for a recipe, that type of content will continue to pop up. I'm going to use an example of someone that I know well. And this is my sister-in-law. You guys have heard me say this before. She is probably at 100,000 subscribers. If she's not there, YouTube subscribers. If she's not there, she's very close to that. But she has a macaroni and cheese recipe. And I know this personally because I've obviously been on her channel. It has probably, I don't know how many views at this point. Denise, tell me how many. I think it was well over 800,000 views. And here's the thing. Every year, at Christmas time and Thanksgiving, or whenever people need to know how to make macaroni and cheese, that recipe is going to pop up. So that's what I mean by evergreen content. So I believe that when you are creating content, you need to make sure that you have searchable content, and you also need to make sure you have evergreen content. Now, I'm not saying that's the only type of content that you should have, but those two should definitely be part of your overall strategy. Now, another thing with YouTube is you have the ability to be super brand new. I mean, like 0 subscribers kind of new. And if you have the right thumbnail, the right title, those two things, the right thumbnail, the right title, and those types of things can actually allow your content to get found on the YouTube homepage. That's called browse type content. So you have multiple different ways of people being able to find your content. So don't miss out on that. Now, here's the thing. Let's go back to some of the other platforms. Let's go back to Instagram. And I don't want you to feel like I'm picking on Instagram. I'm just using this because a lot of people build there. As I mentioned, you're going to have to post multiple times per day to stay relevant or to have your content shown. The other thing is, it's the kind of, it's not really the place where people are going to go to do a lot of searching to find content. So if you create something that is, beneficial and relevant and so forth, even though it may be a how-to type thing, the thing that's going to happen is you're competing with all of these other videos that are out there that are just popping up that may not be how to, and it's going to push your content further down. I like the type of content that if someone goes to a search engine and types it in, it's going to pop up. Now, let me also share this with you. Google owns YouTube. So if you go to Google right now and you type in a search term, you're going to see first, you're going to see the AI stuff that's going to pop up. Then the next thing you're going to see is going to be some combination of either links to, let's say, blogs or websites or and so forth, but you're also going to see a section that's going to have video content that is relevant to that topic that you typed in. That's the winning one way to really win, because not only does your content have the ability to show up on YouTube, it can also show up on the Google homepages. So I'm telling you, there's a lot of different advantages that come with it. So let's see here. All right, I'm going to come back and get some of those other things later on, those other comments. All right, so now let's also talk about why another reason. So one, it's owned by Google, which makes, and it's a search engine. The second thing is people go there for solutions. I know I do. I go to YouTube. If there's something I need to figure out, if there's something I want to learn to make, if there's something I want to learn to do, if there's something I want to see how other people are doing it, I'm going to YouTube because I'm very visual, which means I'm a visual learner. And that's how a lot of people are. So when you can go and there's a tutorial video that walks you step by step through things, or when you go and someone says, this is how you do it. Here's step one, here's step two, here's step three, and they're actually showing you, that's how I learn. And as I mentioned, that's how a lot of people learn. So, though, that's why people go to YouTube. And then the third thing is it's not one of those things, as I mentioned, because people are there to learn, they're more likely to land on something that's relevant. So, if you have a teaching style they like, if you happen to be the right age group, so if they would prefer to learn from someone who's a little older, or if they prefer to learn from someone who's a little younger, there's all sorts of different people on there that might be teaching the same type of content, but they're teaching it in a different way. And you have the opportunity to actually select your instructor, so to speak. All right. Now, that's the first thing. It's a search engine, not just social media. Now, I will say this. YouTube does, in fact, have what's called, it used to be called the community page, but it is the post page. And what that does is it gives the individuals that have YouTube channels an opportunity to have a way to connect with people that is not necessarily video based. So, for example, if you go to my post page or anybody else's, they're likely to have text-based content. They may have, inspirational quotes. They might have polls. There's so many different ways that you can connect with people. Anytime I am doing a live stream, I'm going to post it on the YouTube post page to make sure people get to see it. Now, that doesn't mean that my videos, my live stream videos, or anybody else's won't also show up in the browse page or the front page of YouTube, because it absolutely can. It's just another opportunity for you to have a touch point. So just kind of keep that in mind, that there's that part, but that's not really a social media piece like you would normally see on Instagram, Facebook, and so forth. But it's the closest thing that you're going to get. All right. All right. So the first thing, YouTube is a search engine. The second thing is this, and this is what I love. It's like having a team member that works 24/7, 365, because content is always available. Your content is always available. So one of the things that I have is a tool that I use. It's called vidIQ. And vidIQ, and I'll link it in the description box afterwards, but vidIQ gives me the opportunity to see how many people have watched my videos in, let's say, the last 24 hours, the last hour, the last 48 hours. I mean, it gives you quite a bit. Now, I'm not saying you can't do that with YouTube's analytics, because you absolutely can, but it's kind of nice to see, what type of content is actually performing. And then with each of the individual videos, you can also see how they're performing as well by using something like vidIQ. All right, now, another thing I like about it, this content working 24 hours a day, let's say that you're asleep and someone finds your solution for whatever it happens to be, and they're watching your video at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. Well, they're getting to know you. And if you have videos that are similar in nature, so they can go from one video to the next video to the next. For example, I have an ebook playlist. And so what tends to happen is people will start with one of those videos, then they'll move to the next one because there's an end screen that says, hey, check out this video next. So now what's happening is people begin to binge watch your content. So what happens is, as people are watching your content, this is also building that know, like, and trust factor. They're getting to know your teaching style. They're getting to know you. They're getting to know whether or not you could potentially be the mentor for them. They are getting to know whether or not they like you, because people have to be able to know you, get to know you, decide if they like you, and whether they trust you before they will ever buy anything from you. And one of the best ways to do that is video, and more importantly, long form video. I'll talk a little bit more about long form video in just a second here, but just understand that these are all things that are available to you. Now, with your content, because you also have on your each video has a description box. So that's also a way for you to be able to put in affiliate links. So if you're an affiliate of any type of program, you can link that below and let people know in the video itself that that's where they can find, that particular product or service or whatever it happens to be. Another thing that I like about it, again, 24/7, is if you have created a lead magnet, you can link that in your video description as well. And I highly encourage you to do that. I'm going to share some of my personal experiences, as I mentioned. So, for a long time, I wasn't linking my lead magnets in my videos. When I started doing that, I couldn't believe how many more people were subscribing to my lead. They were grabbing one of my lead magnets, and that in turn put them on my email list, which means now every single day my email list is growing, and yours will too if you have the right audience and the right type of content, and then you link a lead magnet that's going to allow them to get a solution to a problem that they're experiencing. You want to have your lead magnet in there. And remember, someone could be watching that video at 3 a.m. and all of a sudden they see that there's that lead magnet. And so now they can go ahead and grab that. And because it's all done automatically with your autoresponder, you don't even have to be the one that's sending that out. So that's another thing. So you can get views while you're sleeping. You can get subscribers. People can subscribe to your channel while you're sleeping. You can earn affiliate income while you're sleeping. You can have lead magnet downloads occurring while you're sleeping. So I'm just telling you, it is a phenomenal opportunity for you to do it. Now, the other thing is this. When I started to create, initially, I started creating some content. I think it was in 24, 20, maybe it was 23. I'll have to pull the video up to see. But one of the things that I did is I created some content that taught people how to create an ebook from start to finish, meaning what they needed to do in order to, come up with the content. Then the next video taught them how to format it in Canva. The third video taught them how to sell it using a software platform that I highly recommend. And other videos taught them how to do how to create a table of contents, how to create an ebook cover, how to create a flip book, which was actually a suggestion from one of my subscribers. So all of this went into a playlist. So as I mentioned, those were ways that people were finding me. And so they would start watching the first video, and then they would just keep going through the series, not because they were trying to help me. It was something that was giving them a solution to the problem that they had, or it was a topic they wanted to learn. All right. So, all right, let me go back and grab some of these. So, Denise says, yes, searchable and evergreen content is super important. It absolutely is. And then, is it Tamara or is it Tamara? Some people pronounce it different ways. It says, I'm guilty of using more than one platform and I'm overwhelmed. Yeah. And that's what happens. When you see a creator that is on multiple platforms, 9 times out of 10, they have virtual assistants or they have a team. And that team is helping them to accomplish posting on multiple platforms. If you are a one-person operation, find a platform that you like where your ideal customer is hanging out on and create content for that platform. All right. Okay. Savvy's on. So saying good morning to everyone. Good afternoon. And let's see here. Yes, it's much less overwhelming by all means. So yeah, don't overwhelm yourself. It's just not worth it because and remember, I create content for individuals that are 45 years of age and older. All right. Now, that doesn't mean I don't have, and most are women. That doesn't mean I don't have men. That doesn't mean I don't have people younger than that. But here's what I'm going to tell you. With most of us, we have worked hard. We're looking for the simplest solution that's going to give us maximum results. Would you agree with that? So, see, I'm not interested in posting on Instagram 4 times a day. I'm just not interested in doing that. That to me is a lot of work, and I got other things to do in life, and I'm sure so do you. So, I'm looking for something that's going to allow me to get those maximum results, and that's why I've chosen to stick with YouTube. All right, so let me go back and summarize that. So, number one, YouTube is a search engine, which means you're going to have relevant content. Number two, your content's going to work for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All right. Now, the other thing that I want to say, and I think I have this on here. Yeah, I'll get to that in just a second. I just went into number three was you don't have to post 3 to 5 times a day. I mean, who wants to do that? Maybe some people do. But here's what I'm saying. To me, feeding the algorithm every, 3 hours, that is work. Not only is it work to get it posted, and I understand you can auto post it, but you got to create all that content. And that can be a lot of work for an individual, particularly when you have other aspects of your business that you can and should be focusing on. All right. So you'll have much less burnout by using YouTube. The other thing is this: if you create one solid video per week, at a minimum. Now, I'm not saying that it you can't do more than that, but one solid video a week, all right? That in and of itself can be enough to start helping you build an audience. Now, I'm going to suggest that you do one solid video per week. And here's something I wish I would have done right out of the gates, and I'll tell you why I didn't do it, was live streaming. Because one of the things that you have the ability to do with YouTube is connect with your audience in a few different ways. One is going to be regular videos that are posted. Another is going to be short form video. A third way is going to be the post page. And then, of course, live streaming. People are really into live streaming and being able to interact with the people that they want to learn from. And so, with that, it gives you a chance to do a lot of different ways. As I said, you're no longer just that video they're watching. You can post a comment and they can actually read the comment and respond in real time. All right. Now, I want to tell you why I didn't do it initially, because I was scared. So, I have no problem admitting, the things that I've experienced along my journey. I was just flat out afraid to do it. And I'm going to tell you the story behind what finally made me do it. I'm going to also give you a book because, I'm into books. So I wanted to do it. Now, initially, I didn't have all the equipment I needed. I needed a better camera. I had an old camera that I was using to record my videos, but it was not really something I could use in order to do live streams. And my cell phone wasn't really going to be a great option for me either. So last year, I ended up buying all the equipment late 20, what is this, 26, late 24, I think it was, I bought the equipment. All right, so now I got the equipment. All right, so remember, this is late 24. So I've got all this stuff set up. And then it's like, but you know what? I was afraid to hit that go live button. And so I finally said, after reading the book, Hello Fears, I've read Hello Fears every year for probably 3 or 4 years, and I highly encourage you. That's also one of the books in my storefront. But after reading, and I have it both the book and I have the audio, and listening to her share how she overcame her fears, I just finally said, forget this. I'm going to do it. What's the worst thing that could happen? Don't ever ask that question. Right? Because life will teach you a lesson. So April 30th, last year, I'm going live. I get everything set up. I go live, and let me tell you this, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. All right. I was using Wi-Fi because I thought it was going to be a decent option. That did not work well. The second thing, my sound for like a portion of the video I was on mute or something like that. The third thing was, I don't know, I kept getting these glitches. It was weird. It was just like all kind of stuff. But I had like 9 people on, and you know what? They stayed on. I was like, see, I probably would have just got off. I don't know. But they stayed on. And I, to myself, I was like, what in the world? Why would they stay on? This is just crazy to me. But see, I'm not the type to quit. I am the type that's going to go figure it out and come back making some type of improvement. So I jump into my community group of live streamers and with the software that I use. And I just posted some questions and then I started reading some of the things. I'm like, oh, that's what I did wrong. I should have actually been hardwired, not using my Wi Fi. So that was one of the things. The second thing was I learned I need to completely restart my computer every single time before I go live. The third thing is I need to turn the focus on, so that I don't have interruptions coming through. The other thing was I learned I need to shut down every application that I'm not using that my computer is currently running because I'm notorious for having multiple things running all at one time. All right, so the next week I come back, I had to take a deep breath and then I go live. All right. And it worked. It was better. I'm not saying it was great, but it was better because, as I said, I refuse to quit. I like to go with the Marie Forleo philosophy, which is everything is figure outable. And so I figured if other people could figure it out, I could figure it out as well. And I still have that video up. If you want to torture yourself and go watch it, you can go back and do so. But I think you will see that because I kept showing up and because I kept working to get a little bit better each time, it got better. And so I'm sharing that with you because you may have an experience similar to mine and think maybe this is not for me. No, you just need to figure it out. Now, why am I harping on live streaming? Because with live streaming, if once you are a YouTuber, and if you're looking to get monetized, you're going to need 1,000 subscribers and you're going to need 4,000 watch hours. Live streaming is a great way to build your watch hours. And that's exactly what I saw. Now, I was already monetized by the time I started going live, but I know now that had I started live streaming much earlier, I would have gotten monetized much earlier. So I'm sharing that with you because sometimes you just have to take a deep breath and you've got to hit go live, or you've got to take a deep breath and release that lead magnet or whatever it is. So I want to share this with you. Write this down in your notes because it's one of the things that I've learned and I live by, which is this: everything you want is on the other side of fear. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. And that was in a book called Focus, I believe is the name of it. The Power of Focus. I've got it right back here by Mark Victor Hansen. So, I live by that. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. All right. Okay. So let me go. Hello, Fears. Yes, Mickey, I said Hello, Fears. That's the name of it. Let me go back and see because I think, you guys have been chatting. I've just missed all this. So, all right. Tamara said, yes, that's true. She almost said, hello, everyone. Hello to you too. Savvy said, yes, that's what I'm. Savvy, did you mean that you're looking at doing YouTube? Let me know if that's what you mean by that. And let's see here. Okay, I'm glad to hear that because I'm telling you, YouTube is one of those things that's going to allow you in many ways to work less and make more impact, particularly if your audience is a little bit older and they're maybe not hanging out on Instagram, but they will hang out on YouTube because they're trying to learn things. And I can't tell you the number of people, YouTubers, okay, that are 50, 60, 70, 80. There's a gentleman, I can't think of his name right now, but he's 80 years old and he's doing a fantastic job on YouTube, just sharing his life experience. And that's what a lot of people are doing. So there's a place for us over here on YouTube. It doesn't matter. You just have to take a deep breath and you got to go for it. All right, so let's see here. Mickey, I appreciate you saying that. I'm so scared to go live, but you really want to. Here's the thing: when you go live, I'll get on and support you. I honestly expected no one to be on mine. I figured I'd just be talking into the abyss. And then people showed up. I'm like, oh man, now what do I do? So I just had to roll with it. And you're going to be surprised by how people can be very, very forgiving. Come on, Savvy, you got to do it. Just take a deep breath and hit go live. Even if you say, I'm only going to stay on for 5 minutes, make up some topic that you can teach that has 3 points and get on, teach it, and get off. We can do that. You can survive that for 5 minutes. So I know I'm probably preaching to the choir when I say it, but honestly, the first minute or so is where you got the sweaty armpits, you're sweating on your forehead and you're nervous and your mouth is dry, so keep some water near you. But it gets better the longer that you stay on. And I tell you, yes, being shy has robbed me of a lot. And you know what? That's the thing with most of us. You're going to find that when you're talking about something you really believe in and something that you genuinely enjoy, that you're going to come to life. You're going to blossom. You're going to get on there. And, then all of a sudden, people that believe in or want to learn whatever it is that you're talking about, they're going to show up because they like that stuff too. And you know what else is okay? Just perfectly okay. You can make mistakes in terms of, you stumble over some of your words or you forget to say something. That's why you always see me with my notes in front of me because it helps me to stay on target and make sure I don't forget anything that I think is important to share with people. But you don't have to be perfect. You just have to hit go live and you go for it and then go back. And as tough as it may be, watch your live stream so you can figure out where you might be able to improve. See, I had to suffer through watching that horrible April 30th live stream because I needed to know what I needed to do to improve. Because how else was I going to improve if I didn't know what mistakes I was making, what challenges I was encountering, what things I needed to do? So, it's definitely something that we all go through. Here's another thing I want to say because you said that you're shy. You would be surprised by how many very successful content creators and YouTubers are extremely introverted, but they come to life when they get in front of the camera. And it's simply because, number one, we're just talking to a camera. And secondly, it's because they believe in the topic that they're telling people about. See, one of the reasons why I can come to life about this YouTube stuff here is I believe in it. I've seen what it's done for me personally. So, and I've seen what it's done for, like I said, my sister-in-law who's on here, who's got this humongous audience of subscribers. I know what it can do for you. And as I mentioned, it's a lot less work than having to post a lot of different, well, first of all, create and then post a lot of different content on other platforms. So just kind of think about that. All right. So yes, everything you want is on the other side of fear. You need to write that down. And when I say you, me myself, I need to write it down and put it on my desk here. Because it's just true. Once we are willing to conquer our fears, it's amazing what opens up to us. So, see, and here's the other thing. After I started doing a few live streams, now I can come on and I can hit, live and go for it. Now, here's the thing. Some of you, like I think this was also one of my fears, was afraid, what if somebody comes on and they troll me? Well, that might happen. But you know what? There's this beautiful button that YouTube has for us. It's called ban. You just hit them with the ban button and get them out of your live. Another thing you can do, depending on how you're starting your live, is you can put in things that will say, no, they can't comment until they've been a subscriber for X number of minutes, X number of days, and so forth. So you do have some controls over it. If you don't feel that you yourself can handle looking at the comments and doing all of that at one time, then ask a friend to pop on. And if somebody were to, say something out of pocket, make them a moderator and allow them to kick people out of your live. So just kind of think about that as well. All right. So, yeah, Mickey. So it's definitely, something that we can all do. And trust me when I say this, if I can do this, you can do it as well. Okay. Now, I think I have kind of beat that as hard as I possibly could. So anyway, number 3 was you don't have to post 3 to 5 times a day. Number 4 kind of goes along with that is long form content builds trust faster. That's number 4. And so that goes along with live streaming. Building your regular live long form content as opposed to shorts. I don't really focus on shorts. I haven't done a short and I don't know when. I prefer to just create longer form content. And so last year, because I had a ton of different things going on, the only way I could really make sure that I could show up consistently was by doing a live stream. It didn't require me to plan and do a lot. For those of you that don't know, I lost my grandmother who lived in Wisconsin, 101 years old, in January of last year. And I was responsible for settling her estate, selling her house, and so forth. So I knew what my limitations were going to be. I also knew that my other content that I had created previously was going to continue to work. But one way that I knew I could show up was by live streaming. So with the live stream, again, it's going to, or long form content, and I'm including live streaming in that, it does do a number of different things. It's going to definitely increase your watch time. And here's something you should be aware of. Let's say that only 1 or 2 people show up on your live stream. You're going to find that more people are going to watch it later than are watching you live. For example, a lot of people right now are at work. They're not able to watch this live stream, but they will come back and they'll watch it later. So just understand the same thing is going to happen to you. The other thing is they get to hear your voice, learn your teaching style, and as I mentioned, learn or get to know you, decide if they like you and whether they can trust you. All right. Now, another thing is, this is going to help you when it comes time to start selling your digital products, your workshops, your doing affiliate marketing, memberships, whatever it is that you happen to be doing. And so this is one of the things, some of you have heard me talk about the fact that I'm creating a membership. I just selected some beta testers. I'm really, really excited about this. I had not planned to move forward with this until the latter part of the year, or at least summer part. But people kept asking me, do you offer coaching? Do you do this? And it's just easier for me to do it in the form of a membership. You can in turn promote your membership through your YouTube videos. You can in turn promote your affiliate products through your YouTube videos. Remember, in the descriptions, your digital products, your workshops, your toolkits, whatever it is, just make sure that in some way it relates to the content you're teaching about in that video. And then the second thing is make sure it's going to help people in some way. All right. So, all right, let's see here. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I'm all about encouraging people, helping people step out of their comfort zone, giving them the skill sets that they need in the way that they need it so that they can thrive, they can grow, they can build an income. Because one of the things that I can tell you is I know what it took for me to get here, and I had some great mentors. And I want to be that to other people. And I'm hoping that that's how you all feel as well, that you will learn things, whatever your area of expertise is, your niche, and you will turn around and be that encouraging spirit for other people to learn from. So, all right. So, Denise says, I used to be afraid no one would show up, but if you plan your talking points ahead and just start talking, you're going to say the same thing to one person as you would 100. That is 100% correct. That is, yeah, I'm telling you, if only one person shows up, you do need to teach like you're talking to 100 people. Don't give them less because only one person is on. That one person took time out of their schedule to watch your live stream, your video, your whatever it happens to be. All right. Okay, so let's go to, okay, The Power of Focus. Mickey is asking that, is by Mark Victor Hansen, Hansen, Mark Victor Hansen. All right. Hello, Fears. Give me 1 second to go into that. And I always forget her name. Let's see here. And Michelle Poler, Poler. Michelle Poler is her name. And I really loved listening to it, to her, because, like I said, I have the book and I also have the audio book as well. And it was just interesting to hear her share her own experiences of how she conquered fear. Because for most of us, and I'm going to share this with you as well. Share your experiences of how you overcame something, because I guarantee you there is someone in your audience that is afraid of something that you have figured out. And you might be able to recommend a book. You might be able to tell them what your experience was. Like, I don't have any problems telling people about my horrible live stream. It was awful. But I kept going. And that's what you have to share with people. That might happen to you, but you keep going. Okay. All right. So, okay, perfect. All right. So now the other thing, number 5, YouTube has a long shelf life. That is correct. Right now, I have a video that I did in 2010 that is still getting views. This is almost what, 16, almost 16 years later? That's insane to me. I guarantee you that will not happen on Instagram. The likelihood of that, unless it was something that went super viral. And for most of us, we're not necessarily even chasing virality. We're not trying to go viral. We're trying to reach the audience of people that want to learn from us, not necessarily have, 10 million views on a video. Remember the Chewbacca lady, the one who put the Chewbacca mask on while she was sitting in her car, and she was like one of the first Facebook lives, and she went super, super, super viral. We're not trying to do that. We're trying to reach our audience, people that want to learn from us, that we know for a fact that we can help. All right. So, yep, you must have an Audible subscription. I do that too. I have about 3 credits lined up as well, but I know the books I'm going to be getting. All right. So just know that about Instagram. The lifespan of a post on Instagram could be minutes, hours, or maybe a few days. YouTube, it could be years. All right. And then that searchable content can compound over time, because remember, if somebody searches and you pop up in search, there's probably going to be several different videos that are similar in topic, and yours might just be the one that they pick, even though it's not the top performing one, meaning it doesn't necessarily have the most views, it doesn't necessarily have whatever. They might look at you and say, she's about my age, she probably understands my plight, let me go ahead and watch her video or his video, however that happens to be. All right, so number 6, how are we doing on time? Okay, we're doing good. All right, number 6, you build authority in your niche. All right. So when you can do tutorials, when you can give tips, when you can share educational content, you can become the go-to person for people that are in your audience, people that want to learn from you. And so that's another thing, because there's something about reading a post versus something about watching a video where someone is teaching the concepts, they're expanding on it, and so forth. You tend to will tend to relate more so to the person on a video. That's why, if you notice, Facebook, Instagram, they've all added video in. Remember, those used to be platforms that years ago, they were simply post or text based. And then people's attention spans became shorter. And this is a proven fact. And so people like watching video. They push on Facebook and Instagram, they push reels so much because they wanted to be able to, get people interacting with them. A lot of people don't want to read anymore, but they will watch a video. So just understand that video allows you to come to life, kind of come off of the page, so to speak. And so, that's definitely a reason why I think YouTube is a great platform for you. Another thing that I like about YouTube, and I think I kind of alluded to this, is the browse feature, which means you can end up on the front page of YouTube based upon your title, the title of your video and your thumbnail. That's a way for people who know nothing about you to find you and then decide that, they're going to watch your video. And if they like that one video, they may watch, more videos. Well, you have multiple opportunities each time you create a new video to show up on the browse page, which means multiple opportunities to be exposed to people you don't know. That's how you're going to grow your audience. So, you don't necessarily have to be someone that has 50,000 subscribers or whatever for people to find you. And remember, YouTube's thing is pushing content out to people that they think they're going to watch because they want people to stay on the platform. All right. So, let's see. Savvy says, yes. I have Audible as well, and sometimes listen to audiobooks online from the public library. Absolutely. That's definitely another way to do it because I'm a big believer in listening. You've got to do some form of personal development every single day. I've trained myself that when I'm in my car between 8 and 5, I immediately go to Audible and I'm listening to something. So I have a huge library of books in Audible, and it definitely helps me. And see, sometimes listening to those various books or reading those books is going to allow you to advance your business because you're going to hear something that you can use. You're going to learn something that someone shared with you that's going to allow you to overcome whatever it is you're dealing with. And I still believe that when the teacher is ready, or when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, which means that sometimes, you'll know what book you'll know what it is that you need to deal with. For example, let's say you decide that you're dealing with this imposter syndrome. Well, there's books out there where people talk about how they work through that. So just know all of that can be helpful for you as well. All right, now the next thing, number 7. So let me go back and just quickly recap everything. Number 1, YouTube is a search engine, not just social media. Number 2, your content on YouTube is going to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You don't have to post. That's number 3. You don't have to post 3 to 5 times per day. Number 4, long form content builds trust faster. Number 5, YouTube has a long shelf life. And number 6, you build authority in your niche. All right. So that's where, again, people are learning from you. They're seeing you. They're, understanding how you explain things and so forth. Number 7, it drives traffic to everything else. And this is so true. If you look at the people who are on my list, when I say my list, I mean my email list, I'm telling you, they probably came from YouTube. I would go out on a limb and say 90 to 95% of them came from YouTube. Now, some may have found my website, which honestly, I really don't even push my website anymore. I push my YouTube channel because it's faster and easier for people to connect with me. Okay. And I've already mentioned to you the different things that you can include in your descriptions from the lead magnets, your email list, and so forth. All right. Now, number 8 is the monetization opportunities that are built on YouTube. So you can qualify for the YouTube Partner Program. And that's where, when I mentioned before, 1,000 subscribers and also 4,000 watch hours. Another way that you can create or have monetization opportunities will be from affiliate marketing. So if there are specific products that you recommend, and let's say they're on, Amazon or in your Amazon storefront, or they're software type things, those are ways for you to also earn income. Another thing, mentioning your digital products. The next thing is I mentioned that before. The next thing is going to be sponsorship. So you might have a brand deal, something that where you've reached out to the brand or where a brand has reached out to you. And so I can tell you that now I'm at a point, and not that I've really gone after anything, but I've had a number of people companies that have reached out to me, mostly software, because they've seen my tutorial videos. And so they're saying, I'll give you a year's subscription or I'll give you this or whatever. Well, at this point, I like this. I like what's in my tech stack. I'll say it that way. I don't really see a need to add anything else to my tech stack at this point. I'm not saying I won't ever. So I'm not really interested in pursuing any of those. All right. And it has nothing to do with the fact that, it's not a paid type thing. It's just I don't see the need. And I only want to recommend things to people that one, I use, and number two, I see the benefit of. Right now, everything I'm using, I see that it can benefit people who are within my audience. All right. And then the next thing is going to be that, so sponsorships, brand partnerships, and so forth would be one. And then the last one in this list is going to be channel memberships. So you can actually have, I think it's once you get to a certain number of subscribers, but don't quote me on that because I don't do channel memberships. But you can, in fact, have memberships of for people, and they might pay a few dollars per month to actually join your membership, and then you can create videos strictly for your members. So just understand that's another way for you to actually earn income. Now, one thing I want to share with you is through the YouTube Partner Program, all of the equipment that I bought. Okay, everything except for my laptop, which is 4 years old. All the equipment that you see me using, the YouTube Partner Program paid for that. Because I'm not a believer in going out and spending money you haven't earned. So if, I would find a piece of equipment that I wanted and I would be like, okay, well, I know that this is how much I need to earn in order to do that. And so I can confidently say that I didn't come out of pocket for anything. YouTube paid for it. And so that's why I tell people use the equipment that you have until you have made some money or you have a consistent flow coming from your business that's going to pay for it. Okay? So that's just me. I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about that. So, all right. Let's see here. Okay, so let's go on to number 9 is YouTube. Number 9 is it rewards consistency, not virality. So as I mentioned, you don't have to worry about trying to go viral. Just be consistent with your posting efforts, meaning, getting that one video out there per week. If you can do 2 a week, by all means do it. If you can do more than that, even better. What's happening is the more opportunities you have by posting videos, the more chances you have of people finding you, connecting with you, and so forth. And then the other thing is, as I mentioned, if you can do some searchable content, by all means, but all of your content doesn't need to be searchable. All of your content doesn't need to be evergreen content. You might have just a topic that you want to cover, and it might be something that other people relate to. Like I can tell you last year, one of the big things that kept popping up on YouTube was over 50, and then it was some topic. But the whole concept was they were trying to relate to people over 50. You know why? Because we're here. We are those over 50, over 60, some over 70, over 80. But you know what? We are still trying to learn things. We're out here, and our people are out here as well. So just know, as I mentioned, you don't have to always do evergreen content, and you don't have to always do searchable content. All right. And then, tie stuff back to, making sure that you can teach it in a simple way. People want simple. They don't want overly complicated things. Even when you are teaching things, explain it to them. I like to say, whatever you teach it in steps. Make sure that people can say, okay, I do this first, then I do this, then I do this, and now I'm at my solution. Or however many steps it happens to be. That is a simple recipe to make sure that people can follow along. Because if you're all over the place, if you are confusing people, and my goodness, if you're trying to show people how smart you are by using huge words, you're going to lose people. The average person can read at a 6th grade level. You need to keep that in mind. There's actually a tool, I can't think of it right now, but you can copy your content in there and it will evaluate what grade level it's at. Keep your language simple. Make sure that people can relate to you. Make sure that people understand it. Don't use a bunch of industry terms or any of that kind of stuff. And I know I'm kind of getting off topic, but if you're going to do YouTube, make it as easy on yourself as you possibly can. Okay. Jojo Rocks 23 says, yes, we are out here. We sure are. And you know what? We're not out here, just sitting around simply doing nothing. We're out here because we're living longer. We're taking better care of ourselves. We're looking for our second act, which means we're tired of what we did, what we were trained for, or the job that we worked in, and we want to do something different. I always tell people, I was a certified public accountant for years. I don't want to do anybody's taxes anymore. I don't even want people talking to me about that stuff anymore. I want to, be around people that want to learn, are looking at ways that they can earn an income online, people that want to be a part of a community where they cheer people on. Because when I worked in corporate America, that was not the environment I was in. So since it wasn't the environment that I was in, and I knew what I wanted to do, I decided I would create that. And so that's my whole goal, is to create an environment where people are welcome, where people are learning from each other. There's enough out here for all of us, so we don't have to operate with a scarcity mentality that if I teach you something, then that means I can't grow. That's not how it is. Do you know how many people join or become go to YouTube, let's say? How many people turn 18? How many people you will never run out of people to actually connect with. And even if you and I are teaching the exact same thing, you may find that you have a way of teaching it that people gravitate to, and I have another way of teaching it, and other people are going to gravitate to me. That's okay. We do not operate over here with a scarcity mindset. There's enough for all of us. So don't be afraid to share what you know. Don't be afraid to teach things that you can help somebody else, because I'm a firm believer that everything you put out there is going to come back to you tenfold. Now, I'm probably on a soapbox right now, so maybe I should step down, but it's just the truth. It's the people that, operate with that scarcity mentality that are going to have difficulty getting subscribers. They're going to have difficulty getting the watch hours. They're going to have difficulty selling their digital products. They're going to have you're going to have difficulty all the way around. Open up and share your knowledge. Teach people. People will appreciate that about you more than anything else. All right? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to get off of that soapbox now. All right. So that was number 9, which was it rewards consistency and not virality. All right, so I just wanted to make sure that I covered all of that content with you. And I want to share another thing with you, which is another reason why I have to jump off of here in a couple of minutes here. My husband, I've been married for 21 years. My husband went through a very difficult time in 2023, late 2023 and early 2024. Had to have 2 major surgeries, one of which was open heart surgery, second one in his life. And if you look at my husband, he's 6'8" and probably 215 pounds. There's nothing about him that would make you think he could experience something like that. He also had to was diagnosed with kidney cancer. And he doesn't mind me sharing this because he shares this, okay? So at the same time, we had a heart diagnosis, literally the same day, and a kidney cancer diagnosis. That meant I needed to step away from YouTube. But here's what happened. All that content I created, because it was search-based, because it was evergreen, because it was tutorial, it kept on working in the background when I couldn't do anything other than take care of him. And you know what? I got monetized. I got monetized on content I had created, and I really wasn't showing up. I was away from YouTube completely, no live streams, nothing, for 4 months. So that's another reason why I'm sharing with you that I believe that YouTube is a vehicle that you should incorporate into your overall business building strategy, because it will work for you when you need to step away. And, just statistically, we're all going to need to step away at some point. You could injure yourself. You could be taking a family vacation. You could be helping out, a family member or friend. You could be taking care of a spouse or significant other or your child. So YouTube can do the work for you in the background. So I just want you to also think about that as you are building this business, your second act, as I like to call it, is you want to build it in such a way that it is going to take care of you when you can't build it. Because see, if I had been building on Instagram, I probably would have just kind of disappeared into the ethers because if you're not posting regularly, there wouldn't have been anything out there. Okay. So I hope that I have shared with you why I believe YouTube is definitely the vehicle to use as your traffic source because that's what you need. When you are building content, that traffic source should be sending people to all of your offers, to whatever that happens to be, whether it's an affiliate product, whether it is a digital product, your courses, whatever it happens to be, you need a way to constantly have traffic going to your offers without you having to be involved with it. Okay. All right. So let me tell you, I think I've been on the soapbox, but I need to get off because we got to run to the medical center for his annual evaluation, make sure that everything is still okay. So I appreciate any prayers that you can send our way for that. And then also, I want you, if you're afraid to do a live stream, or you want to do a video and you're afraid, I want you to commit by Sunday to creating a video and uploading it to YouTube if you've chosen that as your platform, or if you want to go live, I want you to select a time and date and I want you to go live. And I look forward to hearing your success stories because I know you're going to have them. As I mentioned, read the books, listen to them, do whatever you have to do in order to make sure that you can get to what you want. Because everything you want's on the other side of fear. Everything you want's just outside of your comfort zone. All right. So if you found this information beneficial, I would appreciate it if you could give it some thumbs up. I always say if you have a business bestie, share it with them so that they can benefit from this. Let them know that we're back on Wednesday of next week where we'll be covering various topics that cover digital products, content creation, affiliate marketing. What else do I cover? Email marketing and so forth. We want to all grow and learn together. And I want to make sure that, we definitely can have some incredible success stories to share. So I appreciate you saying that. I do. Thank you so much. I appreciate the prayers, Savvy. I appreciate that so much. Yes, he is so much better now. So as a matter of fact, if you saw him, as I said, you would be shocked and surprised to see that that is what he's been through. So, but I appreciate everything you all are saying. Okay, so I got to get going. But thank you so much for being on with me. I will see you next week. Have an awesome day and an even better week. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.